Very good morning, students. I, Asad, welcome you to study from home. In my previous classes, I explained you about the story of Harappa. Okay, their city plan. Okay, what was special? And their 6 cities and houses, drainage systems, life in the city, new crafts in the city. I told you that they have a trained person. That trained person were specialized in a one work only. Means they are not aware of multiple work. Okay, they are trained. Okay, in a one work to do a one work, right? In search of raw material, that where they get raw material for the craft, buildings, okay, monuments and all. Now today, food for people in the city. Now food is a major concern of for all living beings, right? Remember, we learned in a previous chapters that earliest people, right, hunter and gatherers, though these hunter and gatherers were follow the wild animal, okay, not wild animal but some animals, okay, some herbivorous animal. Why they follow some herbivorous animal? Because those herbivorous animal were source of food, right? So food was a major, not was, food is major concern in a past, present and in future. While many people live in the cities, others live in the countryside, grow crops and rare animals. These farmer and herderers supply food to craft person, scribes and ruler in the city. Right? So take an example, like right, these days and those days. See, even these days, people are divided into two categories. One is a city dweller, another is countryside dweller. Countryside means village. So the people who dwell in the village or in the countryside, generally they produce food. Means they do agriculture activity, as well as they indulge in they involve in a animal husbandry. They rear animal and produce milk and milk made item, as well as they grow rice, wheat, pearls, okay, and other thing. Okay, we know from remain of plants that Harappan grew wheat, barley, pearls, tea, rice, sesame, linseed, and mustard. Right. So these were some crops which are grown by Harappan people for food. Now, what kind of tool they use? Okay, see, uh, take an example of, not example, take problem of farming and agriculture or animal husbandry or animal rearing. We must require certain kinds of tools, okay, to solve the problem or to get the task done. So what kind of tool? New tool. The plow was used to dig the earth for turning the soil and planting seeds. Right? Plow. Let me show you the picture of plow. Now, can you see this picture? This was the picture of plow collecting by archaeologists, right? So they use these types of plow to till the soil, as well as uh, they turn the soil. Means when they insert the plow into the land which were the down layer comes up and up layer goes down. So that is known as a uh, that is known as a plowing. Okay, while real flowers which were probably made up of wood. Okay, these flowers are made up of a wood. Okay, that process is called turning soil, and that flowers are made up of a wood. Okay, now that plow have not survived these days, right? See, now we have modern plow made up of a iron, right? And we use a tractor instead of this cows and buffalo. Okay, we use tractor. Tall models have been found. As this region does not receive heavy rainfall, some form of irrigation may be used. This means that water was stored and supplied to the field when the plants were grown. Means they have a storage for water. Why? Just because this area received less rainfall. So for a vegetation and for this agriculture activity, they require water, and for that purpose, they develop irrigation system. Now, the Harappan were a cattle, sheep, goat, and buffalo. Water and pasture were available around the settlements. However, in the city, summer months, large herds of animals were probably taken to a great distance in search of grass and water. They also collect fruits like a bear, caught fish, and hunted wild animal like the antelope. Okay, so according to this line, we can say that they were also live a nomadic life. Means they move from one place to another place for a food purpose, not for them but for their animal, right? Because in a summer they could not get any green vegetation or any green plant in their into the same place, so they have to move or they have to travel somewhere else to collect or to get the green vegetation for their animals, right? Now, that was all about the Harappan civilization. Okay. Now, the mystery of the end. Okay, Harappan civilization suddenly removed. Okay, that civilization end within a fraction of a time. Now, what was the reason? What was the causes of that end? Let's take around 3,900 years ago, we find a beginning of the major change. People stopped living in many of the cities. Writing, seal, and weight were no longer used. Raw material brought from long distance became rare. In a Mohenjo-daro, we find that garbage piled up on the street. The drainage system broke down, and new, less impressive houses were built even over the streets. Why did all this happen? We are not sure. Okay, why this civilization vanished? We are not sure. Maybe they face some natural calamities. Maybe they face disease or the pandemic. Okay, like these days we are facing. The world is facing problem of corona pandemic. So maybe that kind of pandemic or that kind of epidemic made a change. Okay, that kind of pandemic or epidemic forced them to change place, or maybe all of them died. But we don't have any skeleton or any bones, right? So few people died, few people shift to some other place, but something got wrong. Okay, right? Others suggest that there was a deforestation. This could have happened because fuel was required for backing bricks and for smelting copper ores. Besides, grazing by large herds of a cattle, sheep, goat may have destroyed the green cover. Okay, as I told you, maybe they have a pandemic or epidemic of disease that made a twist. Okay, another reason was that deforestation, right? maybe they cut trees in a mass for the burning wood, okay, as they were used, maybe they were used wood for a fuel purpose, or maybe their animal graze their forest. So we have so many possibilities, maybe natural calamities or pandemic, epidemic, deforestation, or maybe landslide, right? Those kinds of possibility. In the some area there were floods, but none of this reason can explain the end of all the cities. Flooding or river drying up would have had an effect, right? Flood, as I told you in the beginning, natural calamity, or maybe they face a drought, okay, no rainfall for 5 to 6 years, and they made a change. They forced them to change the place, okay. Or river dam, the effect on in some area. It appears as if the ruler lost control. In any case, the effect of a change are quite clear. Sites in a Sindh and West Punjab were abandoned, while many people moved into newer, smaller settlements to the east and south. New cities emerged about 1,400 years ago. You will read about them in chapter 5 and 8. Also, maybe people migrate somewhere and they develop their new settlement, okay, new cities and new place. Now, I'm going to read or explain the elsewhere, page number 33. Find Egypt in your atlas. Most of Egypt is a dry desert, except for the lands along the river Nile, okay. The surrounding area of Nile river has only, vegetation just because of that river. Around 5,000 years ago, kings ruled over Egypt. These kings sent army to distant land to get gold, silver, ivory, timber, and precious stone. They also built huge tombs known as a pyramid, right? We all know what is pyramid. Okay, this and these are the tomb of king, where kings and queen has been buried in this or stored in this pyramid. Okay, when they died, the bodies of king were preserved and buried in this pyramid. These carefully preserved bodies are known as mummies. A large number of objects were also buried with them. These include food, drink, clothes, ornaments, utensils, musical instruments. Right? You can see this pattern of the funeral in the earliest man. I explained in the chapter that earliest human. So same kind of pattern was being followed. Okay. Okay, students, as I explained with that, Egyptian or the kings of Egypt get gold. They send their armies to get the gold, okay, for their preservation of mummy. So maybe this Egyptian have a contact or a thread with Harappans, okay, Harappan cities. They have contact with the Harappan people. One possibility is that maybe those Harappan people shift to the Egypt and settle their life in the Egypt. Maybe one reason or the another reason. So these are some possibilities. These are known as a hypothesis, and these hypotheses are need to research and more work. Okay, so that was some reason. First reason is flood. Second is deforestation. Then pandemic, epidemic, natural calamities. Maybe one or two reasons this civilization vanished suddenly. Okay, and I explain you the another reason that Egyptian king of Egyptian life in Egypt. So maybe for the best or maybe for the good quality of life they shift to Egypt. Okay, there are so many possibilities. So student, this is all about the early cities, right?